My name is Cordell Davenport, and I believe that success is to know what you want and to get it. But more importantly, it is the why. Why is it that we want what we want? I know what I want. I know my why. What about you? Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, I was in downtown San Francisco at a restaurant, a fancy restaurant at a party, a dinner party. And while there, I remember feeling out of place because of the environment. I felt intimidated because growing up, my family and I, we never went out to restaurants, let alone fancy restaurants. And I felt out of place because of all the silverware. I remember there was so many forks on the table, so many spoons, just like extra stuff that I wasn't used to looking at. Waiters walking around. I can't remember if they had gloves on, but that's my perception of it. But they were handing out food and serving people with the arms behind the back. Stuff I've seen in the movies. And I felt uncomfortable being there. And I grew up thinking places like this were only for the rich, stuck-up people. And I believe that the people with nice homes, nice cars, they were greedy. You see, subconsciously, I believe that I was not worthy to receive abundance, have nice things, and sometimes even experience nice things. I thought, more money, more problems. As a lot of people probably heard that expression. But one day, a friend recommended that I read this book called The Millionaire Mind by T.HarvEker. In that book, it made me more aware of my financial blueprint. It made me be more aware of my thoughts, what goes in my head, what experiences I had while I grew up, what messages I was told, what did I see? And all that kind of molded me and my outlook in life. And because of that, my beliefs, keyword is my beliefs about money changed. And because of that, I realized that money doesn't change you. It just makes you more of who you already are as a person. So if you're stingy with $2 in your pocket, you're going to be stingy with $2 million in your pocket. Doesn't matter. And I realized too that I don't have to work for money. Rather, I should have money work for me. And that's through business, and that's through investing. I've got rid of my negative thoughts and limiting beliefs. Instead of saying, I can't afford it, I now ask, how can I afford it? You see, you and I, we all have a money blueprint. Now, this is simply how you think, act, and feel about money. And this applies to everybody that's walking this earth. It can be an athlete, a doctor, a teacher, a janitor, an air pilot, a hairstylist, you name it, whoever you are. The financial blueprint you and I have, it affects our worries, our guilt, our fears, and opportunities in life. Now, naturally, I have no idea what your financial blueprint is. But I'm going to present you something to think about that impacts your financial blueprint, that can give you more time and some more money. But ultimately, the ultimate goal is to have free time. Now, I want to talk to you about problems a lot of people face. And problem number one, it is a system. What do I mean by that? Well, there are a lot of people who are successful. They have successful jobs. That you look at them, and because of their title or their degrees, you give them credibility. Engineers, doctors, lawyers, for example. Now, these educated persons make a lot of money. But the thing is, as with a lot of us, We're forced to continually work to produce effort, to produce money. There's a saying, swap hours for dollars. And with those individuals that do get paid very well, how the system goes with Uncle Sam, they get taxed the highest, unless they have write-offs. And now, although these folks make a lot of money, what do they do with it? How do they make money work for them? How do you make money work for you? Some follow the masses that are told, get a house, pay it off, and give the rest to a quote-unquote professional, a money manager to invest. Now, what can be odd is that most likely these professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers, and so forth, with high-paying jobs, most of the time, they make more money than the managers, the money managers that they're consulting with, that they're relying on. Some people turn their money over to a professional, quote unquote, as quickly as possible and get back to their job. They turn a blind eye and hope for the best, saying, here's my money, take care of me. But now let me ask you, when was the last time a financial planner advised you or anybody that you know of to sell? If the market is going up, they're encouraged to buy. Guess what? They get paid. If the market is down, they say, stay. Guess what? They get paid. Their fees are not tied to the performance of the stock. And the longer they control your money, the more money they make for themselves. And when you are a client, guess what? You are viewed as income. Problem number 2, inflation. Here's another problem. Now, what if someone put $1,000 in a home safe 75 years ago? That money will still be worth $1,000. But $1,000 75 years ago will go further. It did go further than it does today. The power of money buying, what you can do with it, decreases year after year. Purchasing power decreases year after year. And the loss of buying power is called inflation. This includes real estate. That is why someone can buy a house years ago for $80,000, and now that house is worth $800,000. It happens all around us. And before 1971, you can take your dollar and you can trade it in for the equivalent of gold. This stopped in 1971 when the USA went off the gold standard. Without tangible backing like gold, the value of the dollar can be manipulated. And that impacts the value of money. The Fed Reserve, they print money. Click a couple buttons, boom, here's some money. Now, right now of this recording, 2021, September 3rd, 2021, to be specific. And in the United States, trillions of dollars have been printed because of COVID for the economy. And just around 2008 or when we had that Great Recession, same thing happened. When all the banks failed, like Lehman Brothers, and can't think of the other one right now. It's at the tip of my tongue. But anyhow, back then, during the Great Recession, same thing happened. Just print money, print money, print money, print money. That's it. Now, I'm going to transition to give you a solution to both of those problems. Wouldn't it be great to get cash flow. Sorry about my voice. I don't know what's going on. But wouldn't it be great to get cash flow that comes in whether you work or not and doesn't require your physical input? You would say, yeah, of course, duh. Okay. What comes to your mind when you think of the phrase mailbox money? Think about that. Mailbox money. Question. This is a good question here. What's the difference between net worth and cash flow? Well, I'm going to help you out. Imagine you had a bank vault that was filled with gold, and there was a viewing window where you can see your money. Now imagine, although you can see it, you don't have the combination to open the safe. That is just like it is to own assets that do not produce cash flow. Now imagine the same vault, but in this case, you don't own any gold whatsoever, but instead you rent out space in your vault for other people with gold to hold their gold. You charge them rent for storage. Those payments provide enough cash flow, keyword, cash flow, to cover the cost of running the vault and your living expenses. So, what is the ultimate solution? Build assets and not liabilities. Robert Kiyosaki, author, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, transformative guide to a lot of people, stated, an asset puts money in your assets puts money in your pocket, but a liability takes money out of your pocket. Now, what kind of asset am I referring to right now? Apartments. Owning apartments. Your financial planner may advise you not to become involved in apartments because guess what? They don't get paid. Why I like apartments? There's multiple reasons, but I'm only going to talk about 3. 1, cash flow. Owning an apartment building is like an employee working for you. Each month, your tenants, your residents, they go to work to pay your mortgage for your property. Think about that for a minute. Here's the thing about. If you were a tenant or you're a resident and you're actually renting an apartment, you look at all your bills. You have to prioritize all your bills. The number one that you're going to take care of out of credit cards, car, cell phone, whatever it may be, it's shelter, a place to live. It's life necessities, one of life's necessities. Food, clothing, and housing. And if a person can't afford to buy a house, which can cost millions of dollars, depending on where you live, of course, now the only option is to rent. And as tenants pay their rent, it makes payment towards the mortgage, your mortgage. And each payment comes, it increases your equity. Now, there are many apartment investors that own multiple properties. They get $3,000 here, $7,000 here, $5,000 from this property each month. Each month, this money comes in after paying all expenses. Multiple streams of income. Wonderful thing. So a person doesn't have to be reliant on one source of income. Have multiple cash flow coming in. Owning apartments is like owning a business. And with any business, you're granted multiple tax write-offs, meals, travel, home office deductions, expenses traveling back and forth, or you pick up some things that you need to fix your property with. These are all write-offs. And you can do that while having your W-2, whatever you do for a living. Now, it also offers write-offs in the form of depreciation. There's not a lot of assets that can give you this. Now, for apartments, that's 27.5 years of straight line depreciation is what the IRS gives you. So what that means is, let's say your property is worth $2 million and the value of the land of your property is worth $1 million. You can't depreciate land. You can only depreciate the property. So take that $1 million and then you're going to divide that up by 27.5 years. And that's going to give you a loss. And that loss is $36,363.64. Each year, you are able to have that as a phantom loss. And guess what? You could do that for each apartment building you own. So if you own 4 small apartment buildings, there you go. Write-offs, write-offs, write-offs. And on top of that, there's this thing called cost segregation that a person can do. When a property is purchased, not only does it include a building structure, but it also includes all of its interior and exterior components. On average, this can be 20 to 40% of those components. Now, this just helps expedite the depreciation factor. So it could be things like fences, kitchen appliances, carpets, lights. It speeds it up tremendously. So one thing after this recording, go ahead, go on YouTube, go Google, look up cost segregation study. You'll find out how it works. And basically, how it will work as you start to learn is that you have to hire a firm to do this. And then they'll do their analysis, they get a report and they'll give it to the CPA, and your CPA will document that. So that's how all that stuff works. There's a lot more details into it. But like I was mentioning, it just expedites things. So it can depreciate over 5, 7, or even 15 years, depending on whatever it is. So look that up. Now, I'll talk to you all about inflation. And here's a good thing. You can use inflation for your advantage. Most likely, if you bought an apartment building, you have to finance it. You put down a down payment and the bank will come up with the rest. Now with this, because of inflation, your apartment is becoming more valuable due to inflation. So the down payment you put in is losing its value each year. The property increases in value each year. So, as I said, let's say you put $200,000 or $100,000 to buy an apartment building 5 years ago. That money's worth less today than what it was in the past. But going forward, your property value increases. When you use real estate and apartments, it hedges against inflation. Your rent moves along with inflation. If you're employed, typically you may get a living cost adjustment, 2%, 3% raise in your salary or your pay, whatever. And guess what happens? Rent does the same thing. Typically, rent goes up each year, 1%, 2%, whatever. Now, the good thing about apartments is that once the work is done through acquisitions and financing, the money from the property will keep coming in without much effort. And when I say that, I mean, you don't have to manage. You can hire a property management company. And then all you do is act as the asset manager, meaning you manage the property management company. So you will have some key performance indicators that you want for them to do. You have them give you reports each week, each month, and it's up to you to analyze all the numbers. You can't just take what they say as it's factual. You have to trust but verify. There's a whole little process to that. But the thing is, you don't have to do all the work. You can delegate. Now, in conclusion, in the beginning, I told you about my story and how I had limiting beliefs on money. Either I didn't believe I deserved nice things, or that people with money were greedy. My mind says now is I believe that one day I will own a portfolio of small apartments that I'm going to do asset management on. I know I am. I'm not there yet. I'm on the hunt for the person I've yet to become. And I know that one day I'm going to accomplish my goals. And one way I'm going to do this, and I am doing this, is by being a real estate agent that buys and sells small apartments in Alameda County in the Bay Area that are 5 to 50 units. That's my niche. I'm knee deep in it. When you go to my website, smallapartmentinvestors.com, you will see what I mean. And also on my website, I have additional PDF you can download that talks about 20 central reasons why apartments make sense. There's other things you can check out on that website as well, smallapartmentinvestors.com. And really, it's not about how much money you make, but it's about how much money you keep. Wealth is not money, it is freedom. It's control and choices. And apartments make a lot of sense. Told you about cash flow and tax write-offs. Another way this thing about apartments makes sense, that you can't go to the bank and ask to borrow money to buy stocks, but you can for real estate. Now, if something happens to a stock market, it crashes, for example. There's crooks, Enron, or something else happens, Bernie Madoff, things like that. All of a sudden, wow, your whole 401k is knocked out, gone. But let's apply that scenario to an apartment building. Apartments have insurance. So let's say a fire comes, hurricane, earthquake. It's not just going to drop its value to zero. And not only that, you have land. So you have insurance that covers all that stuff. So you're cool. You're settled. Now, as I mentioned, check out my website, smallapartmentinvestors.com. And if you are considering on buying or selling small apartments in the Bay Area, I can help you out. But I want to leave you all with some things to think about. 5 reasons why apartments makes a lot of sense. And then I'm going to sign off. Number 1, use apartments to cover all your living expenses. 2, use apartments to provide tax write-offs. 3, use apartments to provide your kids' college education. 4, use apartments to provide frequent vacations with your family and friends. 5, use apartments to make money while you sleep. I hope this video has been helpful. As I said, check out the website, smallapartmentinvestors.com. Get your PDF, free PDF that I made. And be well, be safe, and be a continuous learner and be a savage when it comes to accomplishing your personal goals. Go get it.